Hey, what's going on with you? We on it. What's up with you, bro?
Everything is good. Thank you for joining us.
Right. That's what's up. Hey, man, it's an honor. You know what I mean? I love it. I love anything that's really, propagating this art form. Anything that's gonna, like I said, contribute
Yes,
to the scene. Brad, I'm into that.
I love that, and I love your openness and willingness to talk to us and really get into your history. And so, for those of you out there that do not know, NM has been very active on the scene as a writer for over 30 years, and that's a lot of time and a lot of commitment to this art form and to this culture.
You know.
And so, NM, can you tell us a little bit about where you're from?
All right, yeah.
What part of
You
Philly are
know,
you from?
I'm from Philadelphia. I'm from Germantown, and yeah, I'm super proud about that. That's my shit. You know, well, I got into graffiti at a young age. Around like let's say 84, 83, 84 is when I understood what it was. 85, you know what I mean? I was just a young kid, but I wanted to do it, so I was into the markers and shit like that. Into writing and tagging on stuff, but not literally really getting that paint. It took me a minute to get the heart up to be that type of writer. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't ready for that, but I was learning and I was hanging around those who was doing, and I think that's that's actually normal for Philadelphia. That's just kind of how all the graph writers come up. We learn graph in our neighborhoods, you know what I'm saying, in these streets, and we learn graph in school. And like my peoples, his uncle may be a writer, my other homie, his pop may be a writer. Shit, his mom may be a writer. Because Philly's got a long history of graph. So, what I mean, I came in the '80s. Like I said, I feel like I became a writer 87, 86, 87 is when I really was like writing on walls, and I was traveling. I was going to the West Coast, so you know, I was dipping myself into the grab game, but I was fully 100% with the shit.
So, in saying that, you being from Germantown, what are your earliest memories of actually seeing the writings on the wall? You were saying it's in school, it's in your neighborhood, you might know this person or
Yeah.
that person, but more on a concrete level, do you have early memories
Oh,
of people or
definitely.
places?
One of my childhood heroes was a tagger used to write Emork, Emork. That's Chrome backwards, and for that alone, I love the nigga name because he did both. He wrote Emork and he wrote Chrome, and he did them both like it was two different people, but it was wild. But guys like Bixby and Neon, these dudes are from my neighborhood. Not even a lot of Philly dudes know about them. But you know, we also had the Uptown heroes. You think about like Donald Nasty, KIW Cats. Like Cat. Them dudes is all from my part of the town, Northwest. They all from over there. So the history goes back to the '70s and even earlier than that. I mean, Hip City Swingers, one of the first crews ever in Philadelphia, has a rich history of uptown writers. So, on the walls, I had lots of influences. I mean, my city was buzzing when I was a kid with graffiti. It was everywhere, so it wasn't hard to absorb.
And so were you moving around your city, or were you, seeing it really in the neighborhood? Because I know Philadelphia has a history.
Yeah, man. My family spread around, the city. Like where I grew up is not where my family from. Like that was my mom and pops trying to get a crib, moving around the city. But my grandma lived down 13th Street, in South Philly. My aunts lived out in West Philly. My other aunt lived down in North Philly. I had people and places to see, but I used those kind of things as excuses to be out running around as best I could because I really wanted to I wanted to know everything about Philly graph, you know, and there was no internet. There was no way to get that information unless you went out there and got it. You had to be out there with them dudes, meet them dudes and to really understand what it was. You know what I mean? Philly used to really the tagging scene was just ferocious.
Yes.
Just
Yes,
ferocious.
yes, and Philly has that reputation, but Philly also has a reputation for piecers as well.
Yo, you trying to get on my good side? Yes, of course we do. You know what I mean? And I always try to like big up those who were willing to like go beyond just the tagging, because tagging is what, that's a staple in the city. But the piecing thing wasn't always as popular. You don't get as much respect if you a piecer in Philly. That's just how it is. The respect goes to those who be bombing. Oh wow, that's a wild piece right there. That Espo. Yeah, Espo was one of my heroes growing up. And next to him is a Braves piece. That Braves piece Braves was before his time too at the time. Both of these guys were elders to me as far as piecing goes. They was nice. They really was. I'll never ever front on what we saw, what we witnessed. But there were a lot of people that I felt like weren't getting credit for what they were doing. Surok was an incredible dude. He was one of the first dudes I ever seen touch a freight. And I mean anywhere. And you talk about the old pieces like Credit, Estro, MB. Those dudes was out there early in the game for Philly, and they were doing illegal pieces in the street. Espo had a whole crew he ran with Diva, Saru, Lazzy. I mean, I could give you name after name that none of y'all probably ever heard of.
It's so interesting when we
but
talk
they
about
definitely are a part of my history, huh?
when we talk about history, we rely so much today on the internet, and the history that you're talking about, it's very local, it's very Philadelphia, and it's not on the internet. This is something that, you had to be there to witness it, because people haven't shared it. It's not in the books. This is, you got to live it.
That's so Eric, you either know or you didn't. You know what I'm saying? You were either down with this or you did. You wasn't. And even the way that we write on the walls, a lot of people can't understand the way that we write. But we all did. And if you lived in Philadelphia, you might not be a writer and kind of started to understand the way we wrote too, because that's how it was throughout the city. And it wasn't all just the same. We don't all have the same hand style. I don't know why people keep thinking there's this one Philadelphia style. No, it's not. It's not. It's a way of writing that we all understand as a tradition. And everybody puts their own personal spin on it. Everybody puts their own touch to it, their own perspective, the way that they see it.
So let's get into that.
They show their own flow. They show their own flow. We don't bite each other's flows. That's despised in Philadelphia. Cats despise it. Yo, I can't tell you. In the tagging game, niggas be like, yo, that nigga stole my S. And they be ready to fight about that shit. Trust me, it is not what people be thinking about Philly. They think that there's just this set way to write. People will say to me, yeah, your hand is Philly. I'm like, nah, that's my hand. That's my hand, bro. Ain't nobody in Philly writing like me. So, there is a difference, but I just want to clear it up. People always ask me, and I'm trying to let them know, listen, it's a form, but it's the flow. We call it ism. We'll get into it.
I love that. I love this conversation, this, about, everybody's flow and the nuances of style, of hand styles, and how you got to own it. And, Philly has such an old history, more than 50 years of history of writing on walls. I mean, that's a long history, and probably even longer. And,
exactly.
To think that it comes from early cats that wrote just in regular print.
But okay, it's great. Cornbread. Think about Cornbread. Cornbread, his legacy isn't that it was a style that he dropped. His legacy is the impact that he made on us as graffiti writers, as a culture, and how it's lasted this long. Because Cornbread wrote his name on the wall, and then went to another part of the city and wrote his name on the wall, and another part in another place. We all do that. We call it rap. So it wasn't about, oh, this is my corner, this is my gang. No, Cornbread went from spot to spot. I mean, he'll tell the story. Trust me, I don't have to do it, because the great thing about Philadelphia history is that a lot of these cats are alive. A lot of these cats can speak for themselves. I try to just support them without speaking for them. That's not my job. But I will tell you that Cornbread is a worldwide inspiration, and there's a reason for that. It's his impact. It's what he gave us, his contribution to graffiti, and I think it's absolutely phenomenal, and I respect him for that, and I admire him for that.
It was, for Cornbread, it was about getting up.
Isn't that what it's about now?
That's right. It's about getting up.
It's about getting up
and getting over.
So I'm going to recognize who I know gave us the feeling. I'm going to give him his flowers. He alive. You know what I mean? I got stories about Bread. You know what I mean? Like, just as a person from Philadelphia, I worked in a shop. Bread used to come in. He's a very sharp brother. And it was a haberdashery, you know what I'm saying? He would come in and get fitted, and he would talk to me about my real name. He would introduce me to, his lady friend or whatever. And he'd be like, yeah, he gonna outfit me. I mean, he's just a smooth, confident man. But I see where it comes from. I see where the rep come from. I see where he gets it, where he, you know what I mean? What he gave to us. I see where that came from when you did it with him. It's pretty impressive, man.
It is impressive. And so, you go back and then you come forward to you picking up the can and starting to go out in the streets.
That's a great pick.
What was it like for you to first start to sort of creep around and ride on the streets as a young man?
See, it wasn't creeping around. It was the Great Escape. When I'm creeping for a couple of seconds when I'm getting ready to tag, but other than that, I'm walking around and checking out everything. You know what I mean? As a young man, I was wild. So, I'm like, yo, where the speakeasy at? Where the weed spot at? Like, I really was out there. You know what I mean? I was meeting up with other dudes to do things we shouldn't be doing. But graph was always that running theme with me. So I always had a can in my backpack, or I kept a can on me, or I knew where there was a beat where I could snatch a can or something like that. And Philly, we call breaking night, just staying out all night. But, we break night when we write graffiti, you know what I'm saying? So if you walking through the whole neighborhoods, you routing, right? You hitting a bus stop from one end to another end of that route. So you walking that route, you might not be done with your cans, you might catch another route. You know what I mean? Then you might just start hitting some choice spots. At 5:36 in the morning, you breaking night. It wasn't really creeping, it was just living. So when you out there at night, when you out there at night and you doing it like that, your senses get real tight. It be quiet, be dead ass on them streets. It be quiet, you be hearing everything. You can hear somebody coming out of the alleyway. You can hear a dog coming at you. You can hear somebody ruffle a window. So those senses start to heighten when you're writing, you know what I'm saying? And now you start getting off on the fact that you finessing the hell out these walls. You tearing these streets up, and you going home sweet. You going home safe. No moss, no foss. Nobody messing you up or nothing. You start feeling more confident. And Philly dudes love that. So, I ain't gonna lie, we did that every weekend, all through the week. That's what we did. We went out, met up. Yo, you got 250? I got 250. Let's get a nickel bag. Yo, let's grab a 40. Let's get these cans and start writing. And then we do that all night. You know what I mean? We just be out writing.
During those days of street bombing, as we were calling it in New York, where were the police? Did the police care? How was it that you could conquer a city by foot?
I never understood that. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. This is the difference, I think, between us and everybody else. I was brought up to be like, nobody should ever see you when you write. Nobody should ever see you tagging. Nobody.
Yes.
In New York and LA and other places, I watch niggas go broad day Joe. Fuck, I've done it for the fun of it later on in life, but growing up, man, we was playing shadows, man. We were not supposed to. The police, you never supposed to be seen. The police come down, you got to get out. You got to be ghost. We weren't buck about it. Oh, I wasn't buck about it. My boys weren't buck about it. They didn't run up to walls or nothing like that. We finessed everything. We bombed, but we're not trying to be seen. That's really what it was for us.
why do you think it caught on so heavy in Philadelphia? Just the street writing, like what you're describing. Why was it so, like Philadelphia is, you know, I've always considered like a capital of tagging. Why, you know, why did that happen? Do you have any idea of
Man on
like,
the
you know,
island. Man on the island, man. Now, this is not no diss to New York or nobody else, but New York was always big graffiti city. It's the cap. It's the Mecca, people call it. But you know, we was brought up knowing that or believing graffiti starts with us. You know what I'm saying? We believe the graffiti started in Philadelphia for a lot of us. You know what I'm saying? So it's man on the island. Like we don't need to go to New York. New Yorkers don't really come here that much. We just gonna do our own thing. And with our old heads was in the streets bombing, and he was giving us hand styles, and we was working them hand styles, and we love tagging. So, you know, that's what made the scene so rich. We used to have big meetings in Philly, tagging meetings, tag crews and everything. You go down to 11th and Market, that was an old one. All the old heads would go down there. It was a Burger King on Wayne Ave and Shelton they used to go to back. And the Burger King still there, but they used to go there and have little meetings every once in a while. Used to go down to Martin Luther King Center, and literally 150 niggas was down there. All taggers, all of them taggers. You know what I'm saying? Doing hand styles, talking. I mean, tagging. I was in a battle down at one of them joints. All head try to take me out. Try to take me out. You know what I mean? Like the this city was this graffiti scene was not the same as everybody else's. They don't care that much. They didn't care that much about the pieces. They got pieces and they love that, but the streets, the action is bombing. That's where the action is at. And that's why it was always so rich here because, you know, a big bomber come through and he'll do what we call shake the tree. If he tear your strip up, guaranteed a lot of other writers gonna come out. They gonna come out and they gonna want to tag too because they gonna be like, homeboy just came through and blew it up. They gonna want to tag with him if they like him, or they gonna want to X him out because he went too far or whatever. But he gonna shake the tree and all types of writers gonna fall down. They all gonna come out and hit the streets. It's a community, you know, and a sport here. It's like a sport for real. It ain't no weekend kind of thing. A lot of these dudes, they go out all the time. I mean, there's still dudes in Philadelphia that are constantly bombing. Shout out to my nigga Snipe, ICP. He's just been constant in the past, like 2-3 years. I mean, longer than that, but I'm going to give you 2-3 years of this cat never missing a month of bombing. I don't think he's missed a month. He's been tearing it up. And they buff him and he still comes back. So that's what I'm talking about in Philly. That's the ferociousness of a bomb. You know what I mean? He don't just come out to get a couple picks or to get a little run. These dudes be like summer after summer. Cadism was one of the first dudes to really like put everybody on a date in his years. You know what I mean? You see it, Cadism 09, Cadism 99, Cadism 01, Cadism 02. Like, you know, date his shit.
consistency?
Yeah, yeah. Heavy hitter.
You know, it sounds like there's just so much love for the streets, for writing, that you can't quit. In so many other cities, and even in New York, you know, the careers of writers are very short, a couple of years. But what I'm hearing from you and the example that you're setting, just, you know, a living example, is that it's not a 2 or 3 year run. They're
No,
very long runs.
nah. When I was a kid, my mailman was a graffiti writer. All right. Guess what? That nigga's still writing. That nigga's
Pretty
still
incredible.
writing. My man, I don't. My man Satan, SN. I'm just put it out there. I gotta shout him because it's just awesome. He's an awesome cat. This man still writes. These guys, look, Duck wrote into his 60s, and these dudes never stop. It's a part of who they are. It's different here in Philadelphia in that respect. They don't bounce out and come back and act like, you know, hey, respect me. If they come back, they got to do it all over again, and they know it. And to get the respect, they got to come back and take the whole town back just to get the respect. And if they stay with it, they never lose it. That's kind of how I've looked at it too. Like, If you stay with it, you never gotta lose it. You know, if you walk away for 5, 10 years, you know, you're gonna be real rusty coming back out here. So it's tough. It's tough to like come back.
It's an interesting that's an interesting point in the sense that if you really want to be recognized and be respected, you have to be active. You just can't, survive on your past sort of accolades or your past actions. You got to put in work. Is that correct?
All day, man. Oh, listen. I mean, I'm gonna just give you. I'm gonna tell you this. You in Philadelphia, they're gonna be people. If you bust out and you come up, I'm saying, let me just say, you hit all the different parts of the city. You're gonna get a couple people that like the show, so they're gonna be like, "Yo, he killing it, he king." But trust me, if I go around to all the real OGs, all the niggas that's been here that ain't going nowhere, they gonna be like, man, we see in about 3, 4 years. They really not buying it. They're not buying it. They don't give a fuck what you just did. They're not buying it. They want to see that you lived this, that
Yeah.
you actually lived this. And I think that's the difference. We don't got a whole lot of part-timers here. You know what I mean? And those that live here treat it as such. Look at Mad. Mad, I love Mad. Mad is one of the greatest pieces come, living in Philadelphia now. That kid never stops. But it's in the tradition, man. It's in the tradition to just keep it moving, dog. Don't
Right.
look behind you. You know?
Lifers.
Yeah, yeah. Be yourself. Be yourself. This is who you is. This is what it's gonna be. If this is who I am, this is my life, right? This is who I am. I'm not changed. I'm a graph writer. I'm proud of that. I used to have to, hide that shit, but now look, the whole world loves art, so I can be me. You know what I mean? I can be me. I could be happy being a graph writer. I don't have to switch it up and be a street artist or switch it up and be, an oil painter or anything. I'm actually content with being a graph writer, and I've seen so many dope artists that have lived their lives or living their lives and are making good livings off of being them. I brought up some great examples. Prior, we had a conversation. I brought up some cats I thought they were, look, they get paid to do their name, bro. They're not getting paid to do something else. They live in their lives.
And so you're speaking of sort of the acceptance of being a writer and being able to be open about it because the world has changed. That there's more of an understanding of the power of it and the beauty of it and the realness of it and just the
We talking
reality.
about tags.
Yeah.
We talking about tags. The most vulgar thing anybody ever saw. Man, they used to, man, you know how many times I've been attacked for tagging when I was a kid? I got pulled off a scaffold one time. I got hit with a bat one time. I done rumble niggas. Writers have tried to stab me, bruh, over tags. I done had, I know what the tag used to be. It used to be hated. You feel me? They hated it. Now they understand. They're starting to understand its beauty and everything. Just because you don't understand it, don't make it ugly. You know what I mean? Don't make it ugly because you don't understand it.
So let's talk about these tags because you mentioned before that Philly has so many styles. It's not just one style that people might try to pin on Philadelphia, and that it's very unique and everybody has their own flow and their own ism. Tell us a little bit about what we're seeing right here with this tag on the left and
Oh,
on the
this one
right.
up here? That's not too much. That's just a little stamp. It's not really it's not even one of my tightest stamps. It's just the tall print style that I did, tag that I did. But me and Rasad was out fucking around. And I wrote an ATP Warlord because that was our old crew, all time pimps. Rasad, man, it's funny that you're seeing this Rasad tag because this shows evolution in the way he got down. If you see a Rasad tag now, it's much taller. I mean, he's always been nice. That style is dope, but he's so crisper now because he's like that guy's like he's like a technician. He loves the hand style and knows all of the traditional ones that we have. He practices them. He visits the original authors and talks to them and understands what you know, they were trying to get across when they did the tags, when they came in with the style. So Rasad is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to Philadelphia graffiti. And he's a you know, my old crew member. Good dude. But those are just prints. There it is. That's my little print style right there. It's all print. Now it's tall because I've elongated the letters. If you look at it, you know, it's just the E, but it looks like it's stretched out. And the N stretched out. And of course, I add flair to the top of the line of the N. And then I do the same thing with the second E and the M, very similar. And then instead of just making an arrow, I bring that line up and whip it around and throw it down. So that's an arrow facing the bottom. You know what I mean? It's kind of going into as the base of the M.
I see it. It's almost like in the arrow, because of the way you whipped it around, it almost looks like it's turning into a heart or something.
Yeah, people start seeing all types of shit with this stuff. But basically, I'm trying to point at the base of my joint like it's standing up. I'm trying to, you know, trying to show them my shit.
And so these elongate, these tall tags that you're talking about that we're seeing here, these long hands. Was there a name for this style? Is this because this is a very this is an original Philadelphia style that we're seeing right now.
That's more of like a tall hand, a tall print. I mean, when we call tall print a real tall print when you stretch it out. I mean, so that's not as stretched out as it could be, but it's like a little tall print. It's like I call it a little tall print, right? That's more of my tall print. You know what I mean? That's something that you know, take it up 10 feet, you know, 10 feet. Bring it all the way down to the floor. Those letters got to stand up. You know what I mean? I love this pick because I remember first starting to use the Mad Max cans, those big ultra wide cans, and I'll never forget saying to a friend of mine how that these cans were built for Philly writers. Like I couldn't think of anybody else that could do it. Now I've seen lots of other artists use the Mad Max cans and the ultra wide cans, you know, since I did this a long time ago. Almost 10 years or whatever. But yeah, I never seen them, you know, want to make it tall like we did. You know what I mean? And I just felt like this was so perfect for us as artists. Like, you think any Philly artist that does a tall print just can get loose with these things.
So is this, I mean, when I see this, like, you're comfortable on the wall to be moving up and down. You're comfortable. You're relaxed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the better the wall, the more exciting it is. The smoother the wall, the nicer the wall. Or if it's a textured wall, it's like, what kind of texture? You know what I mean? Like Philly, we got a lot of different textures. We got like tan bricks and cinder blocks and, you know, stone walls and funky shit. And depending on what you're using, you know what I mean? Like back in the day, it was all rusto and shit. So, you know, they used some barbecue black on a cinder block wall. That thing was dark. You know what I'm saying? Well, if I had some flat white and I caused some glass block window, it looked like it was glowing. You know what I mean? So surfaces and, you know, we try and appropriate tags to fit spots and places. You know? Yeah.
So a question about you know, this one here. So you end your tag with this face.
Mm-hmm.
And we see that in so many writers, these different faces, like the name, the signature, the tag ends with a different kind of face.
That's the old school Philly.
This one looks like it's smoking.
Yeah, that's the old school Philly. Everybody, I mean, basically everybody I've ever written with from Philly has done a smiley face in a tag. It's a part of what we've all done. There you go, great example. Of people that understand how to use it. You know what I mean? You'll see Agua up there. You'll see Cadism up there. You know, there are lots of different people that have used the smiley face in Philadelphia, and I do mean a lot. But once again, it's not the smiley face. Look at those faces. It's how you do it, right? I just simplified it, put the little weed in the mouth when I did it with the crown and all that, and people really enjoyed that. But that's not foreign to what people do in Philadelphia. You know what I mean? Like, It's a
It looks, I mean,
shared.
there's
It's a shared. The smiley face in Philadelphia is as shared as quotation marks are shared with other graffiti writers. And graffiti writers put quotation marks around their tags, right? They put stars by their tags. Nobody says, "Oh, you biting this from me." Same thing with the smiley face in Philly. Everybody's free to give you their interpretation of it.
right.
I
It's
mean,
another element.
it's just another way to get loose. You know what I mean? I enjoyed. I always enjoyed. I thought it was dope. I mean, I know certain artists that I think are better at it than others. You know what I mean? But it is a representation of where we're from. It's
It is
simple,
so.
but it's you got to understand. People think some people now. You got to see. They see the internet. They think we're doing some emoji thing or something. What no fucking emoji around when we was doing these faces.
Right.
You
No,
know what I mean?
it is
Internet
so
was not
distinct,
invented yet.
so distinctly Philadelphia. This is not something from anywhere else but Philadelphia.
Yeah. I mean,
So, and then there's this style.
oh wow, yeah. Heartfelt. Heartfelt. You know what I mean? That's how I felt. I think that's just a statement for me about grad and about how I feel about it. You know what I mean? Like I said, you got a lot of people. I just noticed some, but I'm not gonna give it too much time. But I know a lot of people look at what we do and what we've done as just horrifying like crime, right? That's how you really used to be looked at. But it's expression. It's always going to be expression. It's no different than somebody wanting to sing on the corner, except for I'm leaving a mark. Now, we got rules in Philadelphia. We don't be writing on people's houses. And a lot of them tags you show, they abandoned cribs. Nobody's living in them joints. We wasn't hitting churches and nothing. We wasn't going foul on nobody. We might hit some city property. We might tear up something the city got, but we wasn't going after people. So I think it's a misnomer when people try and project us in an evil light. We used to find places that the city wouldn't want to take care of, that landowners don't want to take care of. They left that place to rot, and we cleaned it up and painted it. We put something into it that the people who owned it wouldn't put into it. The city wouldn't put into it. So they try to make it seem like we had a malicious intent. We might have been self-absorbed, guilty. We might have been selfish and not thinking about how other people felt about our art, but it wasn't malicious. We were thinking about each other. We were being selfish. We were thinking about how it impacted each other on the level of art, like what we were doing. So our secret language, our secret communication. That's what Wickeds is about.
Explain that term "wickets" for those that don't
Well, I
know
mean,
that.
you look at like what I told you about the tall print, right? How we elongate the letter, and so when you stretching those letters out, you can start to play with them a little bit. You know what I mean? Into different shapes and forms, and really kind of like the best way for me to describe it is like rhythms, right? Like we kind of create a rhythm with the tag. So to then somebody it might look like a squiggly line, but to me that was a bounce of the hand. That was the flow. I was letting that hand just pop and then pull it right back up, and that was a rhythm. I might do that each letter all the way through, consistent. Each letter, you know what I mean? And to me, that's a rhythm and a flow. It shows that I have command and control over my letters. A lot of people think that we're just scribbling, but nah, it's an exercise in control.
So question, when I see this image and there's all these stickers, there's a lot of practice that goes into this. This is not, like you said, this is not haphazard. This is not,
Repetition.
this is repetition.
Yeah, repetition.
And like you said, there's mastery here of a style, of a particular flow that you'll only get out of repetition.
Exactly. But repetition gives you a couple of things that you can't do just trying to go willy nilly. You keep doing something over and over again, you get a certain confidence in it. and it shows. I think it's the same thing with anybody else with the oil painter. You can see the confidence in their brushstrokes and their techniques because they've done this before. I mean, that's just how life is. You know what I'm saying? If you work hard at something, you'll get better at it. And repetition is a way of working hard at something when it comes to craft. You repeat the process over and over again. Yo, I love this tag because this is it's like this was sold before. Like people love flare tags, right? In Philly, it was nothing. This is just something we did. We love flares. I mean, when we was young, we had so many different types of, bug and tars, blue corals, kitchen magics, and they weren't for piecing. They were just for bombing. I think this picture is in the '90s, '95 subway tunnels. Yeah,
And it's something that you see popular now. All of a sudden, it's popular now.
Well, no, I mean, it's been not all of a sudden. Flares have been popular. I mean, even Philly graph is not a secret. This has been out the bag for a minute. You know what I mean? We just covering it and talking about it. But flare tags, obviously, they're not a secret. They've been around for a while. You know what I mean? People have been rocking them for almost a decade or more. Like, really rocking them, you know what I'm saying? But I'm talking 30 years ago.
Right.
And like I said, before me, cats was already rocking. Philly loves flare tags, but also love thin caps. They used to, we call them skinny caps, right? And there were certain colors that you would write with a skinny cap, and it was like the Rudy Brown, that primer brown, hunter green. You could tag with those with a skinny cap, and it looked good. It looked good. And so you would see that different names, but they all knew the formula. You know what I mean? Like tagging they've explored it a lot here. A lot of stuff we see doesn't look new to us that people are doing.
Right. Right. You've already seen it all.
We feel I feel like it, but I don't want to say that because I have a different perspective, and I don't know where they're going with it. This could be the beginning of a thought, and it could become something else. They might change and contribute something even heavier than I anticipated.
So, question for you. So, through this whole time that you've been writing and hitting the streets and developing these different styles of tagging, you end up at some point deciding that you also want to start doing throw ups, doing pieces, sort of branching out and doing other styles that perhaps many other writers never go on to explore. What made you want to go beyond just the tag?
I gotta tell you, man, like, and I don't want to make this into no like racial thing, but honestly, in my experience as a young man, in like the '80s, late '80s and '90s, when I would tell my black friends that I wanted to go burn, let's go do these, I want to do this piece, they'd be like, yo, leave that to the white boys, man. We tag, nigga. We not doing all that other shit. And they would discourage it. One, because they didn't believe in me, and I understand that I was garbage. Two, because they felt like it was the easier route and I was wasting time. You know what I mean? Or I'll be wasting paint to do all that. But I loved pieces. I love throw-ups. I love straight letters. Like I love all of the graph shit. So it was just like how to get to it. And then I had an epiphany one day, I guess what they call it. And I just had realized I ain't gotta wait for nobody. I can just do this. I can do this. And so, once I started doing it, that's when the like-minded individuals connected that was down to go with me or was like on the same vibe, but we had never connected. That's when we started to like connect. And eventually it leads to like me and Densky. But this was in 1990. And a lot of this was just me and my boy XL. We would go down the tracks, and XL was like a train aficionado. So my man would always read the signals and tell me when the train was coming. You know what I'm saying? Whether or not it was just parking up or if it was a maintenance train or whatever. Like he literally could read that shit when we was on the tracks. So I had all types of time to do shit that other writers would go down there and couldn't do. They get caught out there because the tracks was real big. It was real wide. It was like eight tracks running across there. And it's like one side is a wall and the other on the other side of it just drops down. Couples like a street. It's like a bridge. The other side is like an expressway. You can't really get away if the thing on your top. But my man hooked it up, so I must have did like 6 or 7 pieces down there.
So were those the type of locations where piecing, really lived or flourished in Philly? Where would you be able to see them
22nd and
besides
JFK. 22nd and JFK was a piecing yard. A lot of old heads had pieces down there. There were other artists that went down there and painted. My counterparts at the time that went down there and painted, and it was jumping, but it was like, to me, 22nd JFK was an easy spot. It was illegal, but it was easy. You know what I mean? Because I had a little one up on it. The other shit I thought was harder, doing pieces in the street illegally, because we had to be like quick about it, and sometimes we get caught out there, we had to con our way out of this shit, you know what I mean? It was kind of difficult. Yeah. But we did it, though. We did it. We got away just about every time when we was just doing something but in the streets, because the cops seemed like, if we was doing pieces, we would get a little sympathy sometimes, like, well, I ain't really mad at this. They might be mad if they call us tagging, but,
Right, they have an appreciation for maybe the colors and the styles.
Yeah, and I loved it. I loved the pieces. I did, man. I was just like any other young dude in the graph. I had the IGTs. I had all the different videos and mags everybody put out. Like, I just wanted my city to get busy.
I mean, this is a pretty technical looking piece right here,
man. And I look at it now and be like, boy, he's a simple-minded cat. It was great. It was great because I was trying to do my own thing. That's why it was great, because I wasn't attempting to do somebody else's art, because I wasn't trying to emulate something I seen in New York. I wasn't trying to be like anybody else. I thought, I'm going to make up something that I like with my letters. And that's what I did. And I went out there and I painted, and I successfully did something that didn't look bad to me. And every time I painted, I felt like I got better. Like, and I was a little big-headed, but I needed that to keep going. I was trying to do bold stuff, and I was risking my neck a lot. So I needed to, like, get that gratification of feeling like I was doing it. Like, and so this pic, I'm on the West Coast. My man, and the piece to the right of it is my man Dream. May he rest in peace. His birthday was just last week. Mike Dream, TDK, forever, brother, love you. All my TDK squad, rest in peace there. Rest in peace, Pat.
What got you out to the West?
Being bad. Judge sent me out there to live with my father. I was my mom was raising, and I wasn't, wasn't doing right, man. Wasn't listening, cutting school, going downtown, play arcades, stealing, doing a lot of shit. A lot of things that I'm not, like, as a young man. Being a young man, I'm not proud of any of that stuff. I was wilding out, and I was taking advantage at the time, you know what I mean? Taking advantage of the fact that I was young and people were trying to help me. So they sent me out there to straighten me up, but they sent me to the projects in California. So, that didn't happen. It just got deeper. But again, graph saved me. I met Stare, I met West, I met Smo. I met these guys that, like, became like my family and my, like my lifeline. They taught me, West was incredible, man. He'd take me to the beach, get clothes, knew where to boost food. Mike was awesome. Mike got me a job airbrushing in the mall. Dream got me a job airbrushing in the mall. I wasn't that good. He still gave me a chance. Like, they were good people to me, and they were graffiti writers, so we got to enjoy that. Like, I just loved the graph, so I got to go to the yard, 23rd yard. I hung down there.
How
And
old were you?
I think I'm like 16, 17. I think around 17 maybe, because I'm 16 or 17, because we talking about 88, 87, 88. I'm out in Cali a lot. 87, I think I might have been there. I was there before as a young man, but I wasn't in the graffiti. I was like 10 years old then. So when I go back again, I'm a teenager. And so yeah, I know 88 because I just found a pic of something somebody sent me of a spot I tagged out there in the yard, and it says ENEM 88. So yeah,
So you connect with these writers, and they show you a lot of love.
take me in,
They
take,
take you in.
take me in. Stare took me in. Stare showed me how to hustle out there. Dude, as a friend of mine, he passed away yeah, last year, and it still bothers me.
Yeah.
But yeah, he showed me how to survive. Me and that man rumbled together. We ate together, everything, and we love graph together. And he's an awesome graffiti writer too. To the day to the day he died, he was loving graffiti. It was a beautiful thing.
And you got to witness and build become part of a family of a very well respected crew in TDK, and
Oh man,
filled with
yeah,
style writers.
yeah, yeah. And in time, I think I did gain a lot of respect of my crew members, and I definitely appreciate that. You know what I mean? But I never took it lightly. It was a big thing to me. Huge to be in this club. It was huge.
Did you
So,
understand it at the time at
oh, I
17?
knew it. I knew
Yeah.
it. Green was a powerhouse. Green was man. This man, listen. This man, hand to God. I'm in the Eastmont Mall. Digital Underground comes in here. Me and him are talking to this dude. Dude got a white t-shirt on, little ring on it, little Gumby haircut cut to the side. He telling me he liked Philly, this, that, and other. We chopping in the mall at the little kiosk. Mike says, "What's your name?" He said, "Tupacalypse." And the guy. We met Tupac in the mall when he was a roadie. Mike just had a magnetic kind of attraction to him. He knew everybody in the Bay. Two Sword, whoever you want to think about in the Bay Area is famous. In those years, they knew who Dream was. Dream did it all. He was a powerhouse. He was an awesome graffiti writer. He was just inspirational.
So tell us about what we're looking at here. We're going to go through
Oh,
a couple of these images just
you know
about your
what?
style and how
I
your
think
style's
that's a
changed.
piece down in D.C. or something. I think I was with Adam Stab when I did that. I'm pretty sure too. It had to be about 9 to 10 years ago. It had to have been about a decade ago. But yeah, that's when I would be traveling around on the East Coast a little bit. I always enjoy going to different cities on the East Coast. We all have something in common being from the East. Wow, this is a picture with a writer by the name of Clark. He's from Philly. The Clark from Philly, not the Clark from New York. And me and him went out on a couple month tour of just Rust-Oleum pieces and characters, just all illegal pieces. You know what I
So
mean?
as you started to travel around and
Yeah.
meet people, did you start to you know, build camaraderie, build friendships? Were you taking, did witnessing other people in other cities influence your style or your perspective at all?
I don't know about people, about my style influencing people. I never thought about it like that. I always kind of thought about it like we all got our own style, and it's nice to admire somebody else's style, but you can't be going too far with that because then you just bite. You know what I mean? Like I love, but look at Grab. Look at these guys. They're all so incredible. The ones that are real graffiti writers. Their styles are just so dope. Like all this stuff is just on the fly, late night stuff, and I think those are like early 2000s. That's not even back in the day. That's just me and Clark running around in the Northeast. That's just crazy. I remember that piece was in the dark. Oh wow, that's my that was with my homeboy Big Mach up in Buffalo. So yeah, like I said, I love jumping around the East Coast a little bit and connecting with these people. I've met so many incredible writers in so many different places in the States, man. And to be able to write with them all is even doper. You know what? I did this with my friend Does It last year. Another cool writer, GOA writer. Yeah, I've met
So
so many different writers, you know what I mean, and painted with them. You know what I mean? I think it's a gift. And there's nothing like in the graffiti world, like you can go to another city and writers will reach out to you and yo, trust. They will be like, yo, bro, you need a place to stay. Yo, homie, you want to go right? I got a wall for you. My man, yo, drink, eat, smoke. Like they just give you mad love if they know that you like really are about this. Like if you're not there for some bullshit and they really want to see you get down and respect your art, you know, they want to facilitate that. You know, other writers are like, yo, without question, the most open hearted people. You know what I'm saying? And like dope is like humans. Not all of them. Some of these niggas is crazy. But
so you know,
I love
I
the
think
camaraderie in it.
what you know, I think Philadelphia also, from what I remember, has a tradition of writing on freight trains. Goes back a long time.
Same Sue Rock. I'm trying to tell you, he's like to me, I think he might even be the godfather of that shit. You know what I mean? Like I'm not even gonna lie to you, man. That dude was in that shit back in the day. Then I don't think I ever seen anybody else do it before him.
Sure,
But
I remember seeing Pre
oh,
doing them a lot.
Pre was a beast because he was down with the network, right? And all them dudes
Yeah,
was all into it. All them dudes was into it. You know what I mean? And you had like Desar and all them dudes, heavy metal. You know what I mean? Like them dudes was big freight bombers. Philly's always had a love for that. We got good freight yards. You know, and especially these past couple years, we've been getting everything. You know, but
here we have
we
another
got the smart,
example of the freight right here.
huh?
I said, here we have another one of an example of another one of your freights.
Oh yeah, that's another one up north, up Buffalo, up there with my boys, with my man Laugh and my man Macho, my man Noah. Man, I had great times up there. Like I said, traveling around, yeah, and like you hear me mention all those guys. Yo, I chill with them dudes, ate with them dudes. You know what I mean? Them dudes took good care of me. You know what I mean? That's in Philadelphia. I just recently did that. You know what I mean? Down North Philly, at a spot that I usually always paint. You know, but that wall had never been like really painted well, so I just went down and buffed it. You know, I used to not be able to do that. I used to not be able to just go out and just paint a wall when I want to. And I think that's a part of me being an older writer now that I enjoy in Philadelphia is that I have walls that I can go paint when I want to go paint. That my peoples are always open to me painting when I want to go paint. When we were younger, it was so much different. Now it's so much more, appealing. And
How,
I like it. I want younger writers to take advantage of it. How much has it changed? You need to get down, bro. You can be doing things that I wasn't allowed to do at your age.
right, it's more acceptable now. It's more understood in a way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, how much is today Philly have a presence of graffiti like this, of pieces, of burners
They
for those?
there.
Yeah,
Yeah, they there. It's a lot of dudes just struggling to straddle the line. This is difficult. If you want to be known as a dope Philly writer, you got to have both if you're going to do the piecing thing. You can't be a piece and not have a hand that they're going to come at you. They're not going to respect you. You're going to get fans, but they're not going to respect you in the street. But if you can do both, if you can accept or at least have show an understanding of both, you know what I'm saying? Then they'll, they can respect that. Shit, we got writers that aren't even from Philadelphia, right? That have lived in Philadelphia, that understand the writing scene in Philadelphia, understand the hand styles, and we don't just accept it, we accept them. Like we will claim them as Philly writers. You know what I mean? And I support those writers. I do. I support them. You know what I mean? Just like up here, when I go up to New York, I have New York for this. That was a shot up from up New York. That other one, that black one, and yeah, that one right there. And that's when I go up to see like Hoax and Roach, Trace. You know, my man Sear when he was living up there. Those dudes are a great family. I mean, there's even more than that to the family, but they have like a great family structure to their crew. They care about each other. They look out for each other. They paint with each other, and they help try and improve each other as artists. That's a great formula. I like that. That's what I always wish Graph would have been here in Philadelphia. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think slowly but surely we'll get there.
How big is the writing scene in Philadelphia today? Like, if you were to guess, how many people are contributing? Hundreds, thousands?
It's not as big as it used to be. That's for sure. It's not, because a lot of the writers that do the bombing, the real bombing, they don't feel the need to come out. They don't feel like there's anything challenging them to do that. They don't feel like that they need to put themselves up against a younger caliber of writer. You know what I mean? They're not going to really push the younger writers. They get busy, they push it, but I'm from Philly. It's going to take a minute. Just seeing a couple years, you know. Why would I this nigga just started writing this summer, right? I can't tell you, man. We'll see in like 4 or 5 years if he's really writing. I'm gonna see his impact. Man, that's out
Sure.
in San Francisco, and I was painting with my TDK friends, my family, Amend and Vogue. My man Spy was down there. I even met a couple dudes from LA. I know that dude. I'm not sure he's LA C7 or something like that. But yeah, no, traveling, man, San Francisco. I
You've
think
been,
people like
you've
the
been,
tag on top of it more than they like my piece that year.
oh, that's funny.
I'm
It's a good
serious.
tag.
It was more into that than my piece.
I
But
think
yeah,
that when you have such a distinct style of tagging and even of piecing, when you take it around, and Philly, the Philly hands that you mentioned before, it's such a special and distinct style that whenever you pop that out anywhere else, I'm sure you get attention.
yeah, yeah. It's different. It's
It's
different.
very different.
You know what I mean? Just the way that we approach the wall, the way that we approach our tags is different. But, you know, people fail to realize this is the same for us. When I see people do things, I'm equally as excited. It don't got to be Philly style. You know what I mean? I love graph. I think that it's just that when people are talking to us, they they really want to marginalize Philly graph. I don't know. I don't want to seem better about it, but I feel like people like they want to can us up like gumbo and sell us, and it's like, nah, man, this is my history, this is my tradition, bro. I'm not gonna sit here and break down every little thing that I do for you. I want you to have an understanding. You know
Right.
what I mean? But it's more important. Like, I can support an artist. Okay, great example. Curve has got a new font out. Beautiful, tall hand Curve. That's Curve's hand, but it is in the style of Philadelphia. I support that, man. And he's trying to bring light to what we do. He's trying to support our art form. You know what I'm saying? I want an advocate like that. I need somebody that's thorough like that. You know what I mean? Plus, I love him as an artist. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want people to think that that's it. And I don't want
Sure.
people to look at my stuff and say, well, that's it. That's Philly style. No, it's not. I am not Philly style. I'm a Philadelphian graffiti writer. You know what I'm saying? And I got Philadelphia flows. I do. I got them. But if you see me do my script style and I whip it out and I'm doing all this stuff, trust me, there's nobody in Philadelphia doing that.
It's about originality.
Exactly. Your take on it. I mean, I look at the same thing when I look in New York, from their hairstyles, throw ups to their pieces. You know, there's dudes in New York that are throw up technicians. I mean, they're beast with the throw ups, just beast with it. I give them the same amount of respect as I would give to a Cess, who's like burning a crazy burner with a crazy idea. You know what I mean? Because I
Sure.
feel like they both are putting their heart into it. This is graft, bruh.
You know, I
This is
think, you know, it's as the styles and as people's understanding of all these things, piecing, throw ups, and tags, as people start to understand more of what it is, the humanity behind it, the people behind it. I think that there's more and more acceptance of it. You know, tags, you know, street bombing has gotten such a bad rap in every city. It's sort of the evil part of writing, so to
vandalism.
speak. It's vandalism. It's they want to lock you up. You know, they want to, uh, you know, give you fines and tickets. It's, you know, it's seen as
Yo,
chaotic.
go up north, they giving out prison tickets. Don't get it chopped. They throw them in jail up north. You get up there around Buffalo, get up
Yeah,
there around that northern area of New York, they gonna lock your ass up, put you in prison. And that's crazy. You know
it's
what I
true.
mean? But they're
It is crazy.
that strict about it. They just don't have no tolerance for it. They've defined it, and they're not gonna give up that definition. But we see it's changing, though, right? We see it changing all around the world. You go to different cities and you see art districts and you see all this urban art. You see that there's an open door for the graffiti writer, right? For the acceptance. But once again, we got to prove it to them, right? We got to up the scale now. We got to do it in a way that's more appetizing. We got to serve it to them on a plate, you know? We keep doing that, we going to sell out the whole game.
Listen, a lot, you know, there's a lot of great examples out there of people that are able to do all those things, are able to participate, be in the streets, elevate their game, do other things. Uh, and I think that there's a great opportunity out there for everybody today that wants to participate.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to keep it in the streets, that's cool. You can move around. The whole world is available to everybody
Listen,
today. We can move
they
around.
can't be.
We've got community.
Listen, I don't care what nobody thinks about what I did when I was a young man because that was my journey. I got to where I am now safely. I'm alive. I'm happy. No harm, no foul. But I had to go through that journey to get to who I am now. I'm not gonna take that away. I can't change it. I love who I am as a person. I love my life.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna change that for nobody. I had to go through that to get to where I'm at now. And I think every artist has to go through something to find themselves. They have to have a struggle. The caterpillar's got to struggle to get out that cocoon and become a butterfly. You have to have some struggle to become something. You know, I'm not going to sit there and be judged on my struggle. You can't appreciate my beauty now. You can't appreciate these butterfly wings now. I don't care. I'm flying away, baby. That's how graphics got to be. You guys got to be artists and true artists. And, you know, I'm not telling you to go do wrong. I'm not telling you how to live your life. I'm saying be who you are as an artist. That happens to be my journey. Your journey could be so different, right? But we got to be supportive of those people that want to be involved in our form of art.
Yes. It's true.
We
It's
have to. We
there.
have to be
It's true.
supportive of those who want to be in our form of art. So I tell them, Uncle Andy ain't gonna lie to you. You my young boy. I'm gonna tell you how to do this the best way. However you do it is gonna be up to you because I want you to be a man. So you're gonna have to grow through your decisions. But I'm gonna try and give you that good information. I'm gonna try and guide you the right way. That's our responsibility, right? The OGs, the old heads, right? Young boys always hitting you up when you DM asking you how I do this, what do I do that? I got a case, what should I do? That stuff really happens. I've had it. Cats hit me up over graffiti talking about I got cased up, what should I do? You know?
Yeah.
I try to tell them the truth.
Well, this is
I'm
real
proud of
life.
you.
This is real life business we're talking about. These are our lives that we're talking about. And, you know, for for writers that, you know, for young men, young women that get into this, it's a long road. It's a rocky road. There's ups and downs. You know, there's dangers and pitfalls. You know, but if you have enough sense to maybe or luck to meet someone that's an older head in this movement, and that can school you, that you can talk to at least, or maybe talk your ear, give you some advice. You got to it, it could change your path. It could open you up a little bit. And I think that in this
Definitely.
community, we've had that for some time. And those that can excel are those that maybe listen and sort of open their minds and their art and to the possibilities.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Graph is so like I said, it's so these artists are so open, and it sounds soft, but they loving people. A lot of graffiti writers are loving people. You know what I mean? Behind the tough shit. Trust
Yeah.
me, I know some gangster ass niggas that was like, "Yo, and I love you," on some graffiti shit. I'm like, damn, this nigga crazy, but he loved me, and I accept that for him as a person loving me. Period. Not what somebody might think he is.
Yeah.
Uh, Graffiti is an awesome gift. It is the gift of expression. You can say and do what you want with your artwork in a way that communicates to other people. And if you do it with passion, love, and responsibility, you can impact those people. I think that's what people need to see, that there is a message in this game, and that there is a purpose in what we're doing. We're culturally impacting each other. You know, we're like the town criers. We give the news. Anytime anything happens, you see graffiti writers immediately piecing it on walls, and they all got their take for it. That's our nature. We're trying to contribute to culture, life,
in public.
without
In public.
listen. And why is a graffiti writer? Why don't they understand that a graffiti writer does this in such a selfless way? That he puts his art out there, he puts their art out there for the world to criticize. The world. All you got to do is see it, and you can yay or nay. And they got to be Teflon, because don't think it doesn't hurt their feelings when somebody says that's garbage.
Yeah.
But they'll go out and do it again and again and again. And I've done it over and 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 over. Even though today somebody will be like, I hate that. I've had people walk up to me and say, I hate that. And I'm trying to do a mural. I'm trying to do something nice. I'm loving my color scheme, my characters coming out. I hate that. And I'll be like, damn, get out of here. Because I had to build that up, because it does hurt. You know what I mean? But I'm still gonna finish this wall, baby. I'm still going to do it. And I did it out of my own pocket.
If you last past the first year in this, you start to build thick skin. You get past the teachers telling you that you're no good. You get past your parents telling you you're no good, that you're not going to amount to anything, that this is trash, not to do it. And then you start to come into your own power. You start to believe in yourself. You start to figure out you have your own voice and your own mind to make decisions that, might be good for you, might not be good for you, but that's the journey that a writer takes.
That's your journey in life.
That's it. That's it. It's listen, I appreciate, what you're sharing, because this information about the journey, it's not an easy journey, but there is, for many that want it, an upside to this, a liberation that you experience in knowing that you're on your own personal journey, and that you have power to express yourself and be free and be open about, making something. It's a powerful thing.
You recognizing that what you're doing is a form of expression that allows you to be an artist, to take on the true title that you really are holding. It allows you to take advantage of the gift that you volunteered for. God gave you a gift. He put it out there. He said, if you want it, you jumped up, you volunteered. This is what I want to be in life. This is what I want to do. And then, what you're doing with it. So, substance, right? Versus material. Like, are you doing something that means something in your life? Or are you doing something to get something in your life? And graffiti, for me, is about doing something that means something in my life. So it's a thing of substance. I don't do graffiti to pay the bills here. I don't do graffiti to buy clothes and, you know, all that. I got children. I got to feed them through hard work. But I do graffiti because I am connected to people, and I can share a smile with them, and I can, you know, share a thought with them. You know what I'm saying? And I've been doing it my whole life before this internet was here. You know how when we talked before, we talked about the network, how people used to trade the negatives, and how we used to shoot pictures back. And it was basically a picture kind of network running through the country. You just had to get with the right people to get the right negatives to trade them off. We've always
Yes.
been doing this kind of, you know what I mean? And this is a part of who I am. So the internet is nothing but just a new way of doing that for me. Sharing the art. Before we that's why I don't have as many pictures as I would love to be able to share with people of the past, because we didn't care that much about taking a picture. We lived in the moment. We if the picture was taken half the time, we didn't do it, or I didn't do it, and I was like, yo, I felt like I was getting famous because someone else took a picture. I
Right.
liked it because it showed up in a magazine and I didn't even know how to send it in. How did my piece get in that magazine? Oh, so happy, as it they can't they can't change what graffiti is unless we let them do it. They can't
Well,
take
listen,
away with this thing.
we own it. This is our movement, and so we all, the way that we contribute, the way that we show up is the way that it goes. And I keep telling people they don't got to be salty with this person, with that person. You just got to put in your work. You got to show up and put yourself into it.
Do
If
what you love.
you leave and you come back, like, you don't have to leave anymore.
Nah,
You know,
you didn't
you
never
know,
have to leave. That was a weird choice you made.
yeah, it's true.
That was a weird choice. But I understand it though.
You
People
know,
all have to make a choice. And
but
and
listen,
you know, and
with what you're saying, and just how you show up, right, as a man today, that you carry yourself, you have your responsibilities, you have your family, you know you're living the adult life, right? You're an adult, you're a grown man. However, you're still wanting and knowing that contributing to this movement gives you a gift, but also as a gift that you can give to others.
yeah,
And I love to hear that, because you recognize yourself, your power, and you also recognize the community that you're a part of, the city that you're a part of, and that you're making a positive contribution, contrary to what perhaps the law or politicians or people that might not really understand it, because it's just not, they're not in the mix, but it's a positive contribution. And so I'm
yeah.
thankful that you're still in the game for so long.
So my
And for
people, it's a positive contribution. You know what I mean? And that's what it's about. Like, I am gonna look out for those who were like me, and those kids that grew up like I grew up, and those that you know, they weren't gonna be rappers. I wanted to be a rapper. I'm not a rapper. I wanted to play. I played ball. I didn't wind up going to no college football or nothing. You know, I loved graffiti. I love graffiti. I liked all that other stuff. I love graffiti. It was awesome. And then I realized that I loved art. Ah, freedom. You know what I mean? Just that's what saved me. And if I could show another nigga that same, excuse me, I curse a lot by accident. But if I could show another cat that same thing and see that he relates, I don't have to walk him through that. I can let him go. And he'll just, he'll come back one day and be like, bruh, look at what I'm doing. I've had it already happen. I'm going to be 50 this year. So I've already had a couple young boys come back and be like, dang, bruh, I love what you're doing. And they dope graffiti writers now. And some of them just dope artists. And I'm like, yo, you're the man. This was a kid that always, wanted to be under my thumb. And now, he is in control of his destiny. And he'll say to me, man, I'm so glad we hung out. And I'll be like, I'm just glad you really ran with it.
right.
That is beautiful. You did something right. And that's kind of what we're supposed to do. I think what the idea is, you're supposed to freely pass on what was so freely given to you. So I shouldn't feel no type of way about putting somebody into something that I was into that I think is help them.
It's a blessing.
Yeah. Yeah, you ain't lying, Kat.
So NM, we're past the hour mark,
Uh-oh.
and so you know we had a great lively discussion.
Where?
I appreciate you so much in what you do and how you've contributed to this movement, and you taking the time also to share your story and share the images that you shared with us today. It it means a lot to be able to have these stories and have this dialogue, you know, with members of our community publicly, so that you know, perhaps these cats are not reaching out to us. Perhaps these writers, these artists are not reaching out to us. But these talks, these conversations that we have on here, uh, they reach people. A lot of people, you know, will listen to this. And so I thank you very much for sharing your time and your wisdom with us
Uh,
today.
it was just a pleasure having a conversation, man. You know, I, I enjoy it, and an honor being from Philadelphia to be asked, you know, we don't really get into a whole lot of museums, even just to have conversations. So just to be able to know that, you know, we're in the conversation of graffiti is a blessing. And if I can help my city, you know, stay in that conversation, that's kind of my obligation, right? That's kind of my duty. This city's given me so much. I have to do what I can to make sure that my scene is healthy.
I appreciate that, and we're gonna be hearing more from you and from Philadelphia as the museum grows, as we expand and get more of these stories in, and are able to represent more artists in more cities. We're definitely going to check back in with you and get some guidance from you and from those of the writers that are still there and still contributing, because we want to be able to be really connected and inclusive of everybody.
Appreciate,
So I appreciate that.
appreciate you, Kat.
All right, my brother. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. For everybody that's been with us for the past hour and change, thank you very much for tuning in to the Art Talk with NM today. My name is Alan Kett. You were with the Museum of Graffiti's Art Talk.